Hi guys, today we're going to talk about how Grandma blew up my SUP board. Yes, she blew up my SUP board. Look at this hole. It's 15 inches long and a huge hole in the side of it here. So, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, that's pretty bad. I gotta buy a new SUP board. There's no way that we can fix this, and it's gone. But as one of my grandsons says, it's not so bad. It's huge. What do you mean it's not so bad? But I think we can fix it. I think we can do it. I think Grandpa can fix it. So here's what we're gonna do. First, let me tell you what happened. Everybody knows who has a SUP board, a stand-up paddleboard, SUP. Everybody knows that these are a pain to blow up. So you either have the choice of blowing them up at the lake, easy to put in the truck, transport to the lake, and you blow it up at the lake. The problem is when you blow them up at the lake, it's usually out in the parking lot and it's hot. So you're out in the sun. And so that's what we've been doing. But the other day we decided to blow them up at home and do it in the garage, and we'll blow them up the night before and it will be much easier, and so on and so on. However, it's not so easy to transport when they're blowing up, as everybody knows. So these boards are 11 feet long. The truck, with the tailgate down, the boards still stick out about another 3.5 feet. So you got to strap them all down, and you've got this big ×2, because there's one for both of us. And you have to put the red flag on there because they stick out too far and all that stuff. So anyway, that's what we did. All was good, it seemed to be. It's still a hassle. You have to load them up in the truck, strap them down, get to the lake. You gotta undo them, get them out, take them down to the lake, and then when you're all done, you gotta do everything in reverse. Strap them all back up, get home, we unload them, and we decided to clean them off, hose them down because they were dirty. And I unloaded all the stuff and put the stuff away, and Grandma decided that she would hose them off, and everything was all good. And Grandma hosed off the SUP boards, and she leaned them up against the side of the house. We're all done. We go inside, and it's not even 20 minutes later, we hear a huge kaboom! And the SUP board had blown up. What happened? Well, I'm speculating that either this was a little bit defective here, or the hot sun, because they were leaning up outside, and it was hot that day. It was like 97 degrees, but not too terribly hot, about 97 degrees, and the black side was facing the sun, and they were leaning up against the house. And either it got too hot, because it was really hot when I went out to look at it, and or it had maybe a little bit of a defective area here, not enough glue, or maybe a combination of both. I'm not really sure exactly what the reasoning is, but what I would highly recommend and say to anybody who has a SUP board, don't leave them out in the sun inflated. If you're gonna leave it out in the sun, or you have to leave it out in the sun, let the air out. These particular boards hold about 15 PSI, 15 pounds of pressure, and it was too much. So if you're gonna leave them out in the sun, let the air out, at least half of it out or more, and then you'll probably be all right. But leaving a fully inflated SUP board out in the hot sun, especially on the black side, probably going to end up with a blown out SUP board. So anyway, that's what happened, but I think we can fix it. And let me tell you what we're going to do and how we're going to fix it. So I bought, as I did a little research here, some H866. This was kind of recommended by quite a few people, and it's one of the things that the manufacturers use. I've read the instructions on the back. It's pretty simple. We're going to clean it up. Then we're going to take a little bit of sandpaper. I've got some 220 sandpaper, so I'm going to rough up all the edges. And then we're going to glue it. And the instructions say that you wait about, what was it, 3 to 5 minutes? 3 to 5 minutes. Wait about 3 to 5 minutes, and then you can push it together and then clamp it down. I'm going to use some spring-loaded clamps. I don't think we want a lot of pressure on it, but we do want to clamp it for a few minutes. At least I think we do. It doesn't say that, but that's what we're going to do. And I've got some pieces of aluminum here that I'm going to put one piece underneath the bottom here, and I've got several small pieces because this thing kind of goes around a turn here, and I'm going to just put these down, and then we're going to clamp it down after we glue it. And I'll show you all that stuff here in a few. But first, let me tell you what I had to do after I started looking at this. You've got all these fibers in here, and I don't know if you can see all that, but these fibers, they're nylon strings, actually hold the board. When you blow it up, it actually holds it when it comes up and keeps the board flat. Otherwise it would be rounded and balloon out. So when I came down after the board was blowing up, a lot of these fibers were sticking straight out. So I tucked them back in, and you need to make sure that you get these tucked back in as far as you can so they don't get in the glue when you glue this all up. The other thing that I noticed is, and this was actually the next day when I came out and really started looking at this, this edge here was all wrinkly. And so I had to take a heat gun to it and just very lightly put some heat to it so that I could flatten this edge back out again, because like I say, it was all kind of wrinkly up. So I actually put all my clamps on here, put my pieces on here and clamped it up, and I let it set for several hours, and it's finally looks pretty good. It's nice and flat again to where I can glue it down. So anyway, I'm gonna stop right here, and I'm gonna glue this all up. And I got my acetone, I got my alcohol, and my glue, and my sandpaper. So I'm gonna clean it like I say, then I'm gonna sand it down with my sandpaper. I'm gonna sand both sides and try to get all of the little edges back in here as far as I can, and then put my glue on it, clamp it down, and then I'll get back to you and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so I got it all acetoned on both sides. I put the acetone on here and cleaned it up. Cleaned it up with some alcohol. After the acetone, the alcohol takes away the acetone residue. So you want to do the acetone first, then the alcohol. Then I hit it with my sandpaper, and you want to make sure that you get all the little shiny spots of the rubber. Make sure you get those all out, and that's why you use the sandpaper. The instructions do not say to clean after you sandpaper, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to do it exactly the way the instructions say, and we'll go for there. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the glue, and then we're going to let it set for about 2 to 5 minutes. I think I'm going to probably, let's go 3 to 4 minutes, and then I'll start clamping it together. Okay, so now I got all my glue applied. Try to make sure that you really get it into the corners on the, on the bottom as well as the top piece, and that you get the glue spread out evenly. If you got any puddles, you don't want to make sure you smooth those out, and so that it's nice and even. You also don't want to try to get too much beyond where you're going to glue the edges. But on the same token, you want to make sure you get enough glue on the edges so that it doesn't peel back. So I probably went a little bit over, and being that this is on the bottom side, you're not going to see it so much. So that's what we're going to do. So right now, we're going to wait. The instructions, like I said a minute ago, says about 2 to 5 minutes. We're going to wait probably about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we're going to push it down, smooth it out, and then put the clamps on. So. Okay, it's all clamped up, and I left the edge here just slightly out so that I could see it and make sure that I got a good, nice, clean edge across there, and it looks really good. I'm just gonna kind of maybe, yeah, looks real good. I'm gonna leave this setting like this for about a half an hour, and then I'm going to pull the clamps off, and once I pull the clamps off, the instructions say to basically make sure that you wait at least 24 hours before you inflate. So that's what I'm going to do. So okay, so I have got all the clamps off, and looking at the seam here, and everything looks really good. It's all nice and flat. One thing I just wanted to make sure was to make sure that we didn't have anything kind of like popping up on here, but looks like we've got a really good seam, so we'll let it set for about 24 hours, and we'll put some air in it tomorrow, and we'll see if we fixed it. Okay, we've waited the 24 hours that I said we were going to do, and I was just actually thinking about that. I was looking at the can here, and the directions don't actually say to wait 24 hours. It basically just says to press together or bind together before use. I think it's a good idea to wait 24 hours. I waited 24 hours. I would recommend that. I think it takes at least that much time to really bind this thing together. So anyway, I went ahead, I've got 10 PSI in here, 10 pounds of pressure. The board is recommended maximum at 15. I usually use it at 15, but to check the board, make sure everything is good, I put 10 PSI in here. So I mixed up some soapy water, and I'm gonna spray it on where I did the repair, and we want to see if there's any air leaks, and that will show up by basically seeing a lot of bubbles where I spray it with the soapy water. So we'll see if we see some bubbles on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray. And there's no bubbles. All right. We have successfully fixed the SUP board. I think we can let Grandma off the hook.